is on the bill. So what I have to do is I would ask various people, people that are not connected in any way. And if they all give me the same answer, I know that's the correct number. So once I get that established, I have what they call a folding system. My ones I just leave flat out. My fives I fold in half. And my tens I fold vertically. And when I get up to the 20s, they're folded into squares. And personally, I don't carry anything over a 20. I mean, that's dangerous anyway, so.
Folding system.
Yeah, basically where you fold each bill differently.
Yeah.
And every blind person who can't see the numbers, like I can, fortunately, when I hold it up, like I have to hold it up close to my face to see it. But and it, might make people angry who are standing behind me in line at Chick-fil-A. But
yeah, things like that. I don't even see. I didn't even think about things like that. You're standing there. You're trying to, trying to see or feel or what the amount of the tender is that you're holding. And people in line behind you may not, be as courteous.
Well, with Chick-fil-A, it's a little like the small boxes are the 8s, the big boxes are the 12s. So that's all I figured out. But each blind person folds their money differently. So like Stefan's folding system could be completely different from another totally blind person's folding system.
Right, there's no universal approach to it.
But each blind person, they have their own specific folding system with their dollar bills. And some who choose to carry 50s fold theirs in a different way. And it's before I had a folding system, and my vision has actually gotten better since like my vision used to be a lot worse when I was younger. And before I could actually see the numbers, what I would do is I would actually have different bills in different pockets.
Different bills in different pockets. Okay.
Like I would have my 1s and 5s in front for easy access, like my front 2 pockets, and then I would have like 10s and 20s in my back 2 pockets because I wasn't reaching for that money that much.
Right.
Unless I was trying to break change or something.
I guess you can say they kind of went in order of the need.
Exactly. You were going to use your 1s and 5s more, so
then your 10s and 20s, of course.
And that was before I learned about the folding system, and before my vision actually got better enough to where I could actually see the bills.
What about things like going to the grocery store? Let's just say if you just happen to be by yourself, how do you know what aisle you're in? Or what kind of aisle you're in? I mean, I don't even know what number aisle I'm in because I don't look up. But I just know, okay, well, let's see if it's in the freezer section, and then I should go towards the far left side of the store. That's just from me being the experienced shopper that I am. How do you all go to the grocery store? How do you know what aisle you're in?
Well,
or what type of aisle you're in?
I will say 2 things. In our advanced mobility classes, when we're in high school, we actually go to, our teacher will actually take us to a grocery store. And at first she would tell us techniques, and then she would make us go and perform those techniques. So we could learn, basically.
Right.
And one thing we learned is that a lot of grocery stores are universal in the way they have their things set up.
Yes, they are.
When you walk in, most of the time, on the very right, when you turn to the right, are the vegetables. In the very back is where you have meats.
Meat, yes.
Yeah, meat
in the freezer section.
And the freezing section, like all the way to the left is the milk and the eggs, like the back left.
Yoplait yogurts.
Exactly, all that stuff. And then usually to the far left, on the other side, is where the bread is usually. Bread and desserts. And like if it's Walmart, there's a bakery over there. So that's, and then once you do the outline, it's kind of a little bit easier. And also one other thing we learned is to advocate for yourself. And advocate doesn't mean fend for yourself. It doesn't mean just to fend for yourself. It also means you must know when to ask for help.
And what to ask for.
You have to, not only that you need help, but you need to know what you need help with and how you intend to get it. And That's how come we have always been taught, no matter how shy you are, you can't be shy and blind. You can't. There's no, you won't get anything done. If you're by yourself at the grocery store, customer service is your friend. They will actually help you. You just have to have a list ready.
Right.
And you go and you tell them what you want, and they will actually read you all the different types of things that you have, and you get to choose, and like they'll help you. That's what we have to do. But the whole where you are in the store, it's universal, and usually the clothes are in the very middle if it's Walmart.
Right, and I live at Walmart. Personally, that's one of my favorite places to be, next to Joe Muggs at Books A Million. I love that place, but going to customer service was actually very hard for me at first because by nature, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a very prideful individual, and I don't like to pass off as being weak, as you can well imagine. But once I got to it, I realized that, we're all hampered in some form or fashion. I could be in a worse condition. I could be, not to make light of anyone's disability or situation, I could be wheelchair bound, for example. But once I got over that issue about my pride and everything ran smoothly. And one thing I had to be careful about it. Careful about it first is that tell them what you want, like we said a few moments ago, because you don't want to end up getting the family pack when you just want something just for
yourself.
For that night.
What about, do you know what kind of brand, like for instance, for me, the Great Value ketchup brand is an entirely different taste than Heinz ketchup.
Oh yeah.
Brand. Is there any way for you to tell what type of brand that you're getting, that you're taking with you?
It depends. Like the person will actually tell you that we have we have ketchup, we have Great Value, we have Heinz, and usually since I am a male, I will say which one's cheaper. But but you can tell, and they'll actually tell you all the different brands of stuff they have. Like if you say I want macaroni and cheese, as long as you say that, they'll take you to where the macaroni and cheese is. It's like, okay, we have this kind, we have this kind, we have this kind, we have this kind, and you choose which one you want. But they won't just grab something willy nilly and throw it in your cart. Like they'll tell you, it's their job. It's customer service's job to help you, but it's your job to ask.
Right.
What about things such as clothes? How do you know what clothes you're putting on in the morning when you get dressed?
Oh, this is fun. I was actually told that I dress better than some sighted people. And it's true. It's true because I learned. I have two younger sisters. One is blind, but one is sighted, but they watch a lot of fashion shows. And what I heard was black was slimming.
Black is slimming.
Yes,
that is a known fact.
So most of my shirts are black.
Okay.
Most of my shirts are the same color.
Okay.
But I learned what matches and what doesn't. I learned that black and white shirts go with anything. If you wear a black shirt or a white shirt, you're good.
Mutual colors.
I also learned that you can wear blue jeans with anything. Pretty much.
How do you know what color shirt that you're putting on?
Most of my shirts are the same color. I try to avoid having a whole bunch of multicolors. The only shirts that are different colors are like my dress-up shirts that I wear.
I actually have a unique system to it. I came up with it shortly after I graduated from high school. What I would do is I would take a clothespin, and an everyday clothespin, and depending on what color the shirt is, I would ask the clerk or person in charge what color the shirt was upon me purchasing the item. And for blue, I would take one clothespin, pin it on the inside on the left, and put one button on it. And if it's red, do the same thing, but put it on the opposite side. For anything that's gray, I would put the clothespin on the right side, but I would leave it bare. So it's color coded. Everything's color coded for me, depending on what position the pin is in and how many buttons are on it at the time.
Wow.
See,
What about
that's a smart idea.
that's very yes, I love it.
I didn't even know that. That's a great idea. But I honestly I wear a lot of t-shirts, and most of my shirts are either black or some kind of dark color, so it just goes with anything. I can just grab a shirt, throw it on, and it's fine. And then with my dress up shirts, most of my shirts go with most of my pants. Like I make sure that the types of clothes I buy are universal to where they could go with pretty much anything that I match it with.
Can the two of you drive? What about driving? Is there any such thing as driving?
No. And I think a computerized car would actually ruin the thrill, so
I feel sorry for anyone if either of us were driving right now.
Basically. But
But we'd probably be better than half of the drivers here in Jacksonville.
I've had fantasies about, dreams about myself holding my cane out of the window with one hand on the wheel. Of course, that is not reality. That's actually not a realistic occurrence. But I actually have had dreams and fantasies about that, though.
What about watching television? How do you know? I mean, I know you. Obviously, you'll be able to hear what it is, but how do you depict the scene when watching television?
That's interesting. When I watch TV, I really do. I have to depend on what the sound is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds tell you more than you would actually think, It's not like your hearing actually becomes stronger when you're blind. It's just that there are things about it that you're more aware of once you lose your vision.
There's a theory that if you're blind, you can hear better than anyone else.
It's a myth.
That's a myth. What happens is you and I can be hearing the same thing, but I would pick up on it more because I depend more on my hearing. Like if you're sighted, a statistic is that people will use their sight 90% of the time, and their other four senses the other 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since we don't have our sight, I use my sight probably about 15% or 20%, and my other sense is the other 80. Stefan is even more down. Like he probably uses his sight probably less than 1%.
It's virtually non-existent.
Exactly.
For utility.
So you just learn to use your other senses. It's not that our senses are stronger. No, it's just that we've honed them to where we could basically find out stuff. And so when we watch TV, we basically use the sounds that it's giving to paint a picture. And if we don't understand something, usually we're watching it with someone else and we're like, what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
And as for activities or shows like sports, it's the commentators pretty much tell you everything that happens on the court. You'd be surprised.
That's how come I can't watch a football game or a basketball game on mute. I have to listen. I have to have the commentators on. And actually, it's more fun to listen to the radio broadcast because the radio broadcasters are painting a picture for sighted people.
For everybody. Everyone's on an even field in that situation.
And so basically that's how come I'm in radio. That's how come I'm doing radio, is because it's basically TV for the blind.
TV for the blind.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I've never thought of it that way. What about filling out forms, gentlemen? How do you go about filling out forms?
What we usually do, or I'm sorry for speaking for you. I don't even know if I'm speaking for you or not, Stefan. But what I usually do is I would have my form and find someone, like a sighted person, that's I'm giving the form to and ask them to help me with filling out the basic information, except for signing my name. Most of the time, I would like to try to sign my name. If it's too small of a space to where it's gonna look horrible, I would let a trusted person like my wife sign. But I'm not gonna let a stranger sign my name. Like if it's just me by myself, I'll sign my name. Because that's one thing we're taught. If we're blind and we have to use Braille,